Good morning everyone. Basa tayo natin kay JB Bible. Mabilis ang basa at may lakad tayo today. Day 237 na natin. June 26, 2022. Lamentations chapter 1 up to chapter 3 verse 36. Chapter 1 to chapter 3 verse 36. Sorry sa call ng aso. Siguro may tao sila. Lamentations chapter 1. How do the city sit solitary that was full of people? How is she become as a widow? She that was great among the nations and prince among the provinces. How is she become tributary? Guys, nasa province kasi kami kaya sarisaring background noise ang maririnig nyo. May aso, may manok, yun. Verse 2. She weepeth sore in the night and her tears are on cheeks. Among all her lovers, she had none to comfort her, and her prince have dealt treacherously with her. They are become her enemies. Judah is gone into captivity because of affliction and because of great servitude. She dwelleth among the heathen, she findeth no rest. All her persecutors overtook her between the streets. The ways of Zion do mourn because none come to the solemn feast. All her gates are desolate, her praise sigh. Her virgins are afflicted, and she is in bitterness. Her adversaries are the chief, her enemies prosper for the Lord had afflicted her for the multitude of her transgressions. Her children are gone into captivity before the enemy. And from the daughter of Zion all her beauty is departed, her princes are become like harts that find no pasture, and they are gone without strength before the pursuer. Jerusalem remembered in the days of her affliction and of her miseries. All her pleasant things that she had in the days of old, when her people fell into the hand of the enemy, and none did help her. The adversaries saw her and did mock at her Sabbaths. Jerusalem had grievously sinned, therefore she is removed. All that honored her despise her, because they have seen her nakedness shall she side and turn it backward. Her filthiness is in her skirts, she remembereth not her last end. Therefore she came down wonderfully, she had no comforter, O Lord. Behold my affliction, for the enemy hath magnified himself. The adversary hath spread out his hand upon all her pleasant things, for she hath seen that the heathen entered into her sanctuary, whom thou didst command that they should not enter into thy congregation. All her people sigh, they seek bread, they have given their pleasant things for meat to relieve the soul. See, O Lord, and consider, for I am become vile. Is it nothing to you, all ye that pass by? Behold, and see if there be any sorrow like unto my sorrow which is done unto me, wherewith the Lord hath afflicted me in the day of his fiery anger. Verse 13. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it rebelled against them. Bunso, if tapos ka na, sabihin mo sa akin ha. From above hath he sent fire into my bones, and it rebelled against them. He hath spread a net for my feet. He hath turned me back. He hath made me desolate and wait all the day. The yoke of my transgressions is bound by his hand. They are wreathed and come up upon my neck. He hath made my strength to fall. The Lord hath delivered me into their hands, from whom I am not able to rise up. The Lord hath trodden under foot all my mighty men in the midst of me. He hath called an assembly against me to crush my young men. The Lord hath trodden the virgin, the daughter of Judah, as in a winepress. For these things I weep. Ulit yung verse 16 guys. For these things I weep, mine eye runneth down with water, because the comforter that should relieve my soul is far from me. My children are desolate because the enemy prevailed. Verse 17. Zion is spreaded forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord Okay guys. Ulit. Verse 17. Zion spreadeth forth her hands, and there is none to comfort her. The Lord had commanded concerning Jacob that his adversaries should be round about him, Jerusalem is as a menstruous women among them. The Lord is righteous, for I have rebelled against his commandment. Here I pray you, all people, and behold, my sorrow, my virgins, and my young men are gone into captivity. I called for my lovers, but they deceived me. My priests and mine elders gave up the ghost in the city, while they sought their meat to relieve their souls. Behold the Lord, for I am in distress, my bowels are troubled, mine heart is turned within me. For I have grievously rebelled abroad, the sword abroad the sword berebeth, at home there is as death. Verse 21, they have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me, all mine enemies have heard of my trouble, they are glad that thou hast, ang lakas ng tilaok ng manok. Okay, ulit. Verse 21, they have heard that I sigh, there is none to comfort me, all mine enemies have heard of my trouble, they are glad that thou hast done it. Thou wilt bring the day that thou hast called, and they shall delight unto me. So, paalala ko sa inyo guys, nasa province po kami, kaya ganyan po talaga. Verse 22, let all their wickedness come before thee, and do unto them as thou hast done unto me, for all my transgression, for my sighs are many, and my heart is faint. Lamentation chapter 2, how hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered that not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord had swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob, and had not waited, he had thrown down in his wrath the stronghold of the daughter of Judah. He had brought them down to the ground, he had polluted the kingdom and the prince thereof. He had cut off in his fiery anger all the horn of Israel. He had thrown back his right hand from before the enemy, and he burned against Jacob like a flaming fire, which devoured round about. He had bent his bow like an enemy. He stood with his right hand as an adversary, and slew all that were pleasant to the eye in the tabernacle of the daughter of Zion. He poured out his fury like fire. The Lord was Okay guys, ulit. Verse 5. The Lord was as an enemy. He had swallowed up Israel. He had swallowed up all her palaces. He had destroyed his strongholds, and had increased in the daughter of Judah mourning and lamentation. And he had violently taken away his tabernacle as if it were of a garden. He had destroyed his places of the assembly. The Lord had caused the solemn feast and Sabbaths to be forgotten in Zion, and had despised in the indignation of his anger the king and the priest. Verse 7. The Lord had cast off his altar, he had abhorred his sanctuary, he had given up into the hand of the enemy the walls of her palaces. They have made a noise in the house of the Lord, as in the day of a solemn feast. Verse 8. The Lord had purposed to destroy the wall of the daughter of Zion. He had stretched out a line, he had not withdrawn his hand from destroying. Therefore he made the rampart and the wall to lament, they languish together. Her gates are sunk into the ground, he hath destroyed and broken her bars. Her king and her prince are among the Gentiles. The law is no more, her prophets also find no vision from the Lord. Verse 10. The elders of the daughter of Zion set up the ground and keep silence. They have cast up dust upon their heads. They have girded themselves with sackcloth. The virgins of Jerusalem hang down their heads to the ground. Mine eyes do fail with thirst, my bowels are troubled, my liver is poured upon the earth for the destruction of the daughter of my people, because the children and the sucklings swoon in the streets of the city. They say to their mothers, where is corn and wine? When they swooned as the wounded in the streets of the city, when their soul was poured out into their mother's bosom. What thing shall I take to witness for thee? What thing shall I liken to thee, O daughter of Jerusalem? What shall I equal to thee, that I may comfort thee, O virgin daughter of Zion? For thy breadth is great, like the sea, who can heal thee? Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity, to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. Verse 15, all that pass by clap their hands as at thee. They hiss and wag their head, and the daughter of their son, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he had devised. He had fulfilled his word that he had commanded in the days of old. He had thrown down and had not pitied, and he had caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He had set up the horn of thine adversaries. Their heart cried unto the Lord of all of the daughter of Zion. Let thirst run down like a river, day and night. Give thyself to rest, let not the apple of thine eye cease. Arise, cry out in the night, in the beginning of the watches, pour out thine heart like water before the face of the Lord. Lift up thine hands toward him for the life of the young children that faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold, O Lord, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the women eat their fruit, and children of his spanlong? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Lord? The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets. My virgins and my young men are fallen by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thine anger. Thou hast killed and not pitied. Thou hast called us in solemn day. My terrors run about, so that in the day of the Lord's anger none escaped, nor remained. Those that I have swaddled and brought up hath mine enemy consumed. Sandali lang guys ha. Dad, uminom ka na ng kape, Dad. Uminom ka na ng kape, Dad. Uminom ka na? Okay, thank you. Last chapter na tayo, guys. Pasensya na. Lamentation chapter 3 hanggang 36 to, diba? I am the man that hath seen affliction by the rod of his wrath. He hath led me and brought me into darkness, but not into light. Surely against me is he turned. He turneth his hand against me all the day. My flesh and my skin hath he made old. He hath broken my bones. He hath builded against me and compassed me with gall and trouble. He hath set me in dark places as they that be dead of old. He hath hedged me about that I cannot get out. He hath made my chain heavy. Also when I cry and shout, he shouteth out my prayer. He hath enclosed my ways with hewn stone. He hath made my paths crooked. He was unto me as a bear lying in wait, and as a lion in secret places. He hath turned aside my ways and pulled me in pieces. He hath made me desolate. He hath bent his bow and set me as a mark for the arrow. He hath caused the arrows of his quiver to enter into my reins. I was a derision to all my people, and their song all the day. He hath filled me with bitterness. He hath made me drunken with wormwood. He hath also broken my teeth with gravelled stones. He hath covered me with ashes, and thou hast removed my soul far off from peace. I forgot prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord, remembering mine affliction and my misery, the wormwood and the gall. My soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore have I hope. This is of the Lord's mercies, that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul, therefore will I hope in him. The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord. It is good for a man that he bear the yoke in his youth. He sitteth alone and kept silence, because he hath burned it upon him. He putteth his mouth in the dust, if so be there may be hope. He giveth his cheek to him that smiteth him, he is filled full with reproach. For the Lord will not cast off for the Lord will not cast off forever, but though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. Three verses na lang, guys. For he doth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert, verse 36, hanggang dito lang tayo, to subvert a man and his cause the Lord approveth not. Hanggang 36 lang tayo, diba? Okay. Bye everyone. God bless. Nagmamadali lang kami. Bye.